Hello there, welcome to your show, the O&M Late Show. I am Obiora Ilo. Well, today, what is trending? The president's recent visit to the United States is still trending. Everybody's talking about it. Some people are praising it. Some people have some knocks, and so many things. A lot of misinformation. But tonight we want to get it right because we want to talk to someone who was with the president every step of the way. Tonight we'll be talking about the president's visit, the successes, and every other thing that transpired in Washington while the president was there. In a moment, I'll be unveiling our guests for tonight. But let me quickly tell you that President Muhammadu Buhari has denied accusing the United States of America of supporting Boko Haram by refusing to sell arms to Nigeria. PMB had remarked during his visit to Washington this week that America's enforcement of the Leahy Law, which prohibits its government from supplying weapons to any country accused of human rights abuses, was in a way aiding and abetting Boko Haram. The All Progressive Congress has said it was shocked at the magnitude of cases of corruption it has so far unearthed while going through the records of the previous administration. The National Public Secretary of the party, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, reacting to the announcement by President Muhammadu Buhari that some officials of the immediate past administration were involved in stealing 1 million barrels of crude oil daily. If this is true, then it is very, very sad. The People's Democratic Party is calling on President Muhammadu Buhari not to hesitate to investigate and prosecute any of its members found to have corruptly enriched himself. The party said because of its integrity, it would neither condone nor encourage corrupt persons to go scot-free. The call followed a statement made by the president in which he said he has started receiving some documents which indicted some former ministers and other top government officials of massive fraud, including oil theft. And finally, Senate President Bukola Saraki on Thursday described the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation as the engine room of corruption, lamenting that none of the perpetrators of illegal deals in the corporation had so far been apprehended and brought to justice. He therefore challenged the leadership of the Nigerian Labour Congress to assist the federal government to fight corruption by encouraging their members in the oil and gas sector to expose those behind subsidy scam in the country. Well, we have continued to say on this program that no corrupt Nigerian should go scot-free. In the same vein, no Nigerian must be made a scapegoat by not allowing he or she to have fair hearing. In other words, let due process be followed in all these accusations and counter-accusations, and whoever is found guilty must be held to account. Well, in a moment, I'll be joined by the spokesman of the president, the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Mr. FEMI ADESINA. FEMI was all the step of the way with the president in Washington, and he saw everything. So tonight, he will be breaking down everything, clearing the doubts, making clearer the gray areas and telling us everything we need to know about the president's trip to the United States. And also tonight, we'll have the new governor of Rotary, Dr. Mike OMOTOSHO, who is also in the studio, talking about lending a hand or giving a helping hand to the needy. How do they do it? How should we support them? We'll talk about all that in a moment. Don't go away. This is your show, the O&M Late Show.
The only thing that's going to make you happy, my friend, and this year or any other, is to step up. It's to raise the standard. It's to discover what you're capable of and feel that incredible power of pushing through whatever's holding you back and get to the other side of more of your true self. That's what this game's all about.
If you don't develop the courage to do that which has been given you to do, and you spend a lot of time going around trying to convince other people or trying to get their approval, what will happen is that you will lose your nerve. And other people will convince you that what you're doing doesn't have any value, and you'll give up on your dream. How much time do you have left? How much time do you have left? When you start thinking about that, we don't know. Stop wasting valuable time. The power to endure. This is the winner's quality. The hunger, the ability to face defeat again and again without giving up. This is a winner's quality. What this power is, I cannot say. All I know is that it exists, and it becomes available only when a man or a woman is in that state of mind in which he or she knows exactly what he or she wants and is fully determined not to quit until they find it. There's greatness in you, and you've got to learn how to tune out the critics outside and the critic inside. I'm going to harness my will, and I'm not going to let anything stop me. I deserve this. Most people give up on themselves easily. You know the human spirit is powerful. There's nothing as powerful. It's hard to kill the human spirit. You are unstoppable. Live your life with passion, with some drive. Most of us go through life with our brakes on, holding back. Decide that you're going to push yourself. You've got to focus on you. And as you convince you, as you sell yourself every day, you will begin to see a difference in the things that you're doing. Selling yourself on your ability to perform a job, to achieve a certain objective. Telling yourself every day, here I go again. And I got what it takes. This is my day, and nothing out here is going to stop me.
If you're just joining us, this is the O&M Late Show, and you're quite on time. The president just came back from a visit to the United States. For a lot of people, it's historic, fabulous, very successful. But what are the details of that visit? What actually happened? I have with me in the studio the spokesman of the president, the special advisor, media and publicity, FEMI ADESINA. FEMI is joining me right now. You're welcome home.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've been wondering how you've managed all these days. When I woke up this morning, I saw you on TV, and it's like I'm ending the day seeing you again. So how are you getting this? Of course, I mean, the job is a new one for you.
Yeah.
How are you managing? How are you getting by?
Yes, but you know that the media prepares you for this kind of job. The media is a place where you don't have the time you get to work or the time you close. You are like at the alert all around. You may have finished your work, particularly when one was editing and you were preparing to go home and something breaks.
Yeah.
And you start all over again. So one is used to that kind of routine. And I have put in 29 years of that, and those years are coming very useful in this new assignment.
So, Femi, were you looking forward to this job actually? Did you know a few months back that you'll be here speaking for Mr. President and waking up so early and ending so late, and you know everybody's talking about Femi ADESINA? Oh, what did he say? Or what didn't he say?
If you had told me maybe even early May, I would have said no, possibly no, because I didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't advert my mind to it until, well, towards the end of May, one paper speculated it. And then after that, it took on a life of its own. It was like, will it happen, will it not happen, until eventually it happened.
So how did you feel when you got the news?
Well, after it had been speculated, my mind was open. So eventually when it happened, the very night it happened, I got a call from someone close to the president and said, you are going to be announced tonight. Are you okay? Is it okay by you? Then I said, okay, it was okay by me. And it was announced and it began.
Tell me how it is, you know. It's a totally new thing, and you know, anything happens at the villa, everyone is calling you, you know.
The ones I know about and the ones I don't know about, the ones that concern me and the ones that don't concern me.
Does it unsettle you, you know?
No.
It doesn't.
Because having been in the media all this while, you take everything in your stride. That's one thing the media does to you. You learn to take things in your stride, no matter how momentous that thing is. You learn to take it in your stride.
Well, of course, the media prepares you for everything.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure you ever traveled with the president.
No.
You know, how did you feel the first time traveling with the president, you know?
Well, the first time was to South Africa at the AU summit. Well, flying in a presidential jet is luxury. It's good. It's good feeling.
Do people actually sleep in the presidential jet when they're traveling with the president?
It's luxury.
Oh, they can sleep. Anyway.
It's luxury.
So, Femi, the last few days, very busy for you, very busy for the president. He was in the United States. You know, a trip that one of the most important presidential visit to the United States in recent past, you know. I mean, we've had Nigerian presidents visit the United States, but this one was full of expectation. People were agitated. Were we going to get all we wanted and all that? Can you summarize for me, before we go into the small details, of what that trip was like?
You know what made the trip significant was that it was coming just 6 weeks into the life of an administration. That rarely happens. The United States of America does not invite you to come just 6 weeks into your tenure. Rather, it invites you when you have earned your peeps, so to speak. But here was a new president. The invitation came in the second or third week. The invitation came when he went to G7 in Germany, and that was in June. That was about June 7, 8. So he was just barely 2 weeks in office when he had been invited. So that made it very, very significant. And that trip took place last week. The president went with his entourage, and by all standards, it was a very successful visit, by all standards,
Okay, let's go to the specifics. I mean, I was not in the presidential delegation, but like
I can tell you can be there one day.
But like every other Nigerian, we could claim we knew what the president was going to ask for. Of course, we knew the president was going to talk about security, support for our security efforts. We knew the president was going to talk about our anti-corruption efforts.
Great.
We knew the president was going to talk about monies that had been stolen over the years. Of course, we also knew that the president was going to talk about same-sex marriage. You know, well, we knew. Whether he did is a different ballgame. So let's talk about security. Was it a successful meeting? Did we get the things we wanted to get?
Our president had been asked to come with a wish list, and that list was prepared. A week before the trip, actually, an American delegation came and sat with the president. I was privileged to be in that meeting, and we discussed things that were going to happen during that visit. So the president went with a wish list, and 3 of them you have mentioned. The one you didn't mention is economy. Economy was also one of the key items on the wish list. Now, specifically, you have asked about security. Was it successful? I believe it was. But you know the United States of America, you don't ask for something and you go home with it, because it's
due process.
Due process. Due process. It will have to pass through Congress, it will have to be debated and a decision taken on it. And after that, you know that you have got it. But I believe very strongly, as do most of those who are on that delegation, that it was a good meeting. And from the body language of President Barack Obama, from the things he said, and even the things he didn't say, it's likely that Nigeria will get most of the things it asked for. Because he was the one who said, ask. And don't forget, the good book says, ask and ye shall receive.
Well, you know, I don't want to quote the papers, actually.
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of good information, misinformation going on in the papers. Yeah. Well, the papers, and a good number of them today, said that the United States were not going to assist us with the military requests that we may have made. And they were saying it with all, you know, sureness, if I might say that. Is there any truth in that?
How can anybody second guess what the Americans will do? You know, at times the media likes to pontificate, and when they pontificate,
Femi, you actually saying that? you actually said that.
You know, I'm a member of the profession, so I can tell you with all authority that the media likes to pontificate, even when they don't have all the facts at times. Mm-hmm. If anybody says that Nigeria was not going to get what it requested for, particularly in the area of security, mm-hmm. that person is being presumptuous, because that person does not know. Does not know. The president is yet to take the request even before Congress. Mm-hmm. It's yet to be debated. Mm-hmm. So how can anybody say with any assurance that it didn't work? No, that cannot be true. That cannot be true. I think whoever said that was jumping the gun, and jumping it very badly.
So during the discussion, maybe you won't tell us everything, but didn't they raise issues about Nigeria's abuse of human rights, like they had accused us, especially the Amnesty International?
Yeah.
And, you know, they have a law which says if an army,
the Lee law,
you know, if an army is indicted and all that, they may not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did that come up in the discussion?
You know, in almost every discussion you have with Americans, mm-hmm. human rights will come in. It will come in, not necessarily when it's about defense, even in other areas. Mm-hmm. They are very particular about human rights. Where that possibly became an issue was the closing program that our president had at the United States Institute for Peace. Okay? He made a presentation where he said that it will not be right to judge Nigeria by those allegations. Mm-hmm. You remember when those allegations came, the presidency had reacted saying it will be probed, and the process is in place. We have not got a report of that probe. So all that we have from Amnesty International can just be allegations. They are allegations.
Until they are proved.
Not proved. And Nigeria, an independent probe has been instituted into their allegations. So, for now, nobody can say conclusively that what Amnesty said is quite correct. So, the president raised that issue. But we need to mark his words. He said, if America was going to judge Nigeria by unproven allegations of human rights abuse, America would then be unwittingly and unintentionally playing into the hands of Boko Haram, because it will be denying Nigeria crucial armament to crush that insurgency. So the operative words that we need to note are unwittingly and unintentionally. Well, when I saw the headlines yesterday, you know, we are in this job now. When I saw the screaming headlines, America aiding Boko Haram, says Buhari, you need to look at what the president said.
Okay. Femi, we'll take a break. Let's look at some of the, some of the shots from the president's visit. And then when we return, we'll talk more about fallout of the president's visit to the United States.
Well, it's a great pleasure to welcome President Buhari and his delegation here to the Oval Office for his first visit since the historic election that took place. Nigeria is obviously one of the most important countries in the world and one of the most important countries in the African continent. Recently, we saw an election in which a peaceful transition to a new government took place, and it was an affirmation of Nigeria's commitment to democracy. President Buhari comes into office with a reputation for integrity and a very clear agenda, and that is to make sure that he is bringing safety and security and peace to his country. He's very concerned about the spread of Boko Haram and the violence that's taken place there and the atrocities that they've carried out, and has a very clear agenda in defeating Boko Haram and extremism of all sorts inside of his country. And he has a very clear agenda with respect to rooting out the corruption on both these issues. We're looking forward to hearing more about his plans and how the United States can partner with Nigeria so that Nigeria ends up being an anchor not only of prosperity and stability in the eastern part of the continent, but can also be an outstanding role model for developing countries around the world. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Nigeria will remain ever grateful to President Obama and the United States for backing Nigeria to consolidate its gains on the democratic system. And the maintenance of pressure by the United States, mainly, and Europe, to make sure that the elections were free, fair, and credible, led us to where we are now. It would have been almost impossible if the United States did not maintain the pressure on the former Nigerian government that they will not accept anything less constitutional as far as the processes of the election are concerned. We will ever remain grateful. We are extremely happy that the United States had made it absolutely clear, even before the election, that they are prepared to help Nigeria in this aspect. And that's why I am here, and I'm very grateful for the invitation Mr. President extended to me. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you so much.
Nigeria.
I am very honored to welcome somebody who's become a friend, the President of Nigeria, President Buhari. I first met him when I went over there before the elections, and we had occasion to talk about the importance of the election process. It was in the middle of the campaign, and then I had the pleasure of going back for his inauguration, which was very festive, and represented the first transfer peacefully of power as a result of an election, and it was a very, very important moment. Nigeria is an extraordinarily important country, and we have very, very important interests together. We have pledged with the President's meeting yesterday to work very closely on economic development, on the economy, on counterterrorism, on regional issues, but very importantly also to join together in an effort to do a better job of taking on Boko Haram.
So his visit to Nigeria, which he's just referred to, since his visit, things were different in Nigeria. The United States message sent to the previous administration was clean and clear that the United States would not accept anything extra-constitutional that prepared the minds of Nigerians to back us and to arrive where we are today. Nigerians will remain very grateful to the United States, to the President, and to the Secretary of State. Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by saying how pleased I am to be here tonight and to be treated to this elaborate dinner by the United States Chambers of Commerce and Corporate Council on Africa. To have so many entrepreneurs and captains of industry here tonight speaks well of the growing partnership between Nigeria and the United States.
Well, those are sights and sounds of the President's visit. Yeah. So, and we talked about security. What did we come back with? Talking about the economy and the monies that Nigeria is desperately looking for, monies that were corruptly transferred or taken out of our country.
Thank you. At the dinner that the President just talked about, there were over 200 possible investors there. And meetings were held with a good number of them. The President met with the President, he met with the Vice President, he met with the Secretary of State, he met with the Secretary for Commerce, he met with the Attorney General, he met with the Secretary for he met with
virtually everyone.
Virtually everybody in the United States. And there were many bilateral meetings. There were many investors who came. There was one group, I think Batty Group, which came. It would be bringing over $2 billion into the Nigerian economy.
In terms of investment?
In terms of investment. There were many like that who are ready to come in. So, you know that investment decisions are not things that you begin to see the next day. Some procedures must first precede that eventual coming in. I believe that when all the things that should follow this visit are properly straightened out, we will have a lot of those investors coming. The Vice President told our President that if you want investors to come into your country, tackle corruption, and then put your best men at the head of your institutions. That is what our President is doing. You can see that he's tackling corruption, and he is taking his time assembling a team because he wants to put the best men at the head of our institutions.
Okay, when I spoke with you on the phone while you were in the United States, and I was like, this same-sex marriage, are they, harassing us about it? You said nothing like that.
Yeah.
But the visit was not over then.
It was not over then.
By the time you concluded the visit, didn't same-sex marriage come up?
It came up, but not as a major issue. You see, the President went to address the Joint Committee of the Senate and House of Representatives on Foreign Affairs. And so many things came up. Deepening democracy, human rights, and all that. And then one senator just raised it. How about rights for homosexuals and lesbians and all that? And of course, our President said, one, it's against the law in Nigeria, and then two, Nigerians abhor such practices. And they didn't push it. That was it.
Okay, let's look at the other aspects of the visit. One of the things that has been a big issue is what the President said, that he will pay more attention to the 95% of the people that voted for him and pay less attention to the 5%. I mean, in other words, if you rub my back, I rub your back. And a lot of Nigerians are saying, one, should be the president be saying such things? Should the president be saying such things in a foreign land? And how about being the president of everyone in Nigeria? I mean, you're close to the president. Why is he saying that?
We must not take those statements out of context. And we must not take just a portion of that statement. We must take everything. If you take time to listen to the entire thread, you will see that all those making noise about it now is just storm in a teacup. Because one, the president at that point was talking to Nigerians in diaspora, and it was right in the Nigerian embassy. So he was talking to Nigerians, and inside that audience were even members of the APC in in USA and Canada. So it was to them he addressed that. And what he said was, yes, when you have been voted for and you have 95% from an area, you take care of that 95% more than those who gave you 5%. But it didn't end there. He said, but he believes in fairness and justice. What does that mean? It means, therefore, he will not treat those who gave him 95% votes better than those who gave 5%. That's the meaning.
No.
And then he said the Constitution has already protected everybody.
No, but Femi, I mean, we are both journalists.
Yeah, if you have that clip, play it.
And we understand English language.
Yes.
So the president, why would the president, I mean, Nigeria vote, I mean, when you are voted for, you stop being APC or being a PDP. Yeah. Why would the president be talking about, these were things we heard in 1964, when you heard that somewhere in the southeast, some premier had to go and scrape off, you know, the coal tar on a road because people did not vote for him. Why would we have a president in this age and time talking about those that voted for me, paying more attention?
But
does it not bother you? I mean,
no, because
if you were still in the song, wouldn't you write an article?
No.
Wouldn't you write an article?
Because I would take the statement in its entirety.
No, because I watched the clip over and over again.
Yes.
A young woman says, "How about the Niger Delta?"
Yes.
On this your visit, that the Niger Delta has not been paid attention. And that, the president now made this, you know.
And boy,
you don't think there's anything wrong with what the president said?
No, he anchored it properly. It's how he anchored it that matters to me. And he anchored it on the fact that the Constitution has protected everybody. In other words, the Constitution does not allow for marginalization.
Well, what some people saw it like was payback time.
No.
You voted for me, fine.
No.
You're good. No. If you didn't vote for me, then you're in trouble.
No. Not this president.
And you
know, he said something in that same breath. He said, I believe in fairness and justice. That is weighty. I believe in fairness and justice. It means nobody will be given the shorter end of the stick. That's what he was saying.
And some people are saying, how would the president go with 33 official delegates and no woman?
I know there was a woman. There was one woman.
Which woman?
There was one woman. I was there, so I know.
That's Oshomole's wife?
No. Oshomole's wife was not a part of the delegation.
Okay, so who was this woman?
There was a woman in the
You don't remember her name?
I don't remember her name, but there was a woman there.
Because a lot of women are saying,
no.
Is it a sign of the things that will come?
There was a woman in the team. I don't recall her name now, but there was one woman there. But I'm sure you having observed that, the president himself will note it. The president is responsive, he listens. If that has become an issue now, he will take proper notice of it.
Okay, Femi, one other thing that is of concern, maybe not just in this trip to the United States, is sometimes different vibes we get from the villa. Someone says, oh, let's take road A, and another person says, no, it shouldn't be road A, and like discordant notes. And you're in charge of the president's communication. What's going on? And are you doing anything to, because you can't tell me that it has not happened.
No, unless you give me instances.
For instance, someone said, the president said, the soldier should go away from the roadblocks. And weeks after, someone says, no, that was not what the president said. Sometimes somebody said, oh, the SSS are not allowed in the villa. The next day, someone says, no, that's not what they said. And then someone says,
now,
is it not?
No.
Is this not a little?
Let me try to situate all those things properly. There was a security meeting. I also was at that meeting. And after the whole thing had been reviewed, Boko Haram, kidnapping and all that, the president now said that soldiers are performing some duties that are not military duties. He gave an instance. He said that day he was coming from Niger State. I think it was after the election, he was president-elect. He was coming in from Minna, and he was about to enter Abuja. Suddenly, a road of about 4 lanes merged into just 1 lane, and there was a long traffic. Said he wondered what caused it. After they moved gradually, he got to a point. He said there was one soldier who just stood there, and when the vehicle got to him, he would do like this. He would do like this. He would do like this. So he said after he passed him, he now parked. And he went out and told him, he said he introduced himself by saying, I used to be General Muhammadu Buhari. And he asked him, this thing you are doing, what have you achieved? You have just caused this long traffic jam, and you just are doing like this, passing the vehicles. If he had the proper equipment, it's a different thing.
So he didn't say they shouldn't be soldiers?
No. You know what he now said at that meeting? He said soldiers should then be removed from non-essential duties. Non-essential military duties. Those were the words. That soldier was virtually a traffic warden.
So why did the permanent secretary now came with?
Well,
is it bad management of communication?
But immediately we corrected it the next day. But some people just chose to believe the first one. When the permanent secretary spoke to the press and said that checkpoints, military checkpoints had been dismantled, the next day, my colleague, Malam Garba Shehu, situated it properly to say military checkpoints, which are non-essential duties, should be dismantled. But in other sensitive parts of the country, the military checkpoints should remain. Okay. So it was just a clarification. It was not a somersault.
Okay. Finally, Femi, Nigerians are a little worried about our president seeming to forget 1 or 2 things when he's making a speech. Is it that he doesn't get the proper briefing? Or, you are there, so...
That's news to me. Give me an instance.
In the United States, he was going to say the APC, and he said, All Nigeria People's Congress, things like that. Is it that his team, the pre-briefings are not done, or he doesn't have enough time to look at some of his papers?
No, that's not a question of pre-briefing. It's just human. We all have gaps.
Just a slip?
Yes, a slip. We all have gaps in memory. Even when you are 20, when you are 30, you can have gaps once in a while.
So they shouldn't worry us?
No, I don't think so. The president is very sharp. Let me tell you, the schedule in the U.S. was very grueling. Very grueling. Even for me, that is a lot younger than our president. If I had some opportunity to slip off, I would have done. But the president attended every session. Every session. He didn't miss a single one.
We shouldn't worry about that.
No, nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about.
Sorry. Thank you. This is just for you. something you put on your desk.
Okay.
That you've been on our show.
Yes, thank you.
And that you'll be on the show again.
Thank you. It will be my pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you.
When we return, we talk about lending a hand to the less privileged in a moment.
Are you watching Nigeria's biggest late night show?
I think the government is doing its best.
Buhari himself is an issue. Just as the Buhari organization has made Goodluck Jonathan an issue.
We have laws, we have institutions set up to fight corruption.
Advocacy for the cheap hotels is born out of what they symbolize.
The average Nigerian wants to know, what do you have for him?
Fanika Yode was with us for a while.
What happened?
I think he came on a journey and discovered that we were too transparent for him.
A banking license was cancelled in one day, and a airline license was cancelled in one day.
When I was retrenched, it became worse. Sometimes to even find food to give to the children was hell.
Don't tell us you want a nation that will be the most powerful black nation on the earth. We all want it. How are we going to get there?
O&M Late Show and O&M Sunday Show with Obiora Ilo and Mahmoudia Koga. Tuesdays, Fridays, 11 p.m. and on Sunday, 2 p.m. Are you watching Nigeria's biggest late night?
Akuga, for almost 3 decades, have been involved in broadcast journalism, with the better part of that time in the gathering and production of news and news programs. I'm proud to have pioneered weekday morning news talk show on Nigerian television, first with AM TV Live on DBN television and later with Kakaki on AIT.
I am Obiora Ilo. Over 30 years ago, I started my career at Radio Nigeria. Over these long years, I've presented several programs and interviewed hundreds of guests, men and women, the big stars and the not well known, the rich and the poor, politicians, movie stars, journalists, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as they say. You just name them. I've also covered events across the world, from Europe to America, from Asia and back to Africa, bringing first-class reports.
Now, together with Obiora, I will be coming to your screens 2 nights a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, with the O&M Late Show.
From 6th January 2015, Mahmoudi and I will be bringing our decades of experience to bear on our new talk show, the O&M Late Show.
In our careers, we have blazed many trails, and we are thrilled and ready to set new records with nighttime television. The O&M Late Show,
your late night catch-up. It's still the O&M Late Show, and Dr. Mike OMOTOSHO, the incoming governor of Rotary, is joining me at this moment.
Thank you.
Doctor, welcome.
Thank you.
You know, I remember on a trip recently to the United States, and we were in traffic, and someone that was riding with me, you know, saw this young man who was begging for alms, and gave him, they call it a quart or something, you know. And then when the guy left, he turned to me and said, each time you give them this money, you're going to see them the next day, and you're going to see them the next day. And the point he was making was, are we really helping them by assisting them and stuff like that? Well, I want to start from there. Every day, a lot of us see needy people.
True.
Sometimes we ignore them. Sometimes we help them.
True.
What should be the best approach? Because Rotary is all about lending a hand, you know,
Very
putting
correct.
a shoulder. What's the right thing to do?
Well, it's about giving, you're right. But most of the time, the giving we give should not be about giving a quarter all the time. I think that's probably the wrong approach. There may be times when that will be what is needed. If, for instance, someone has to send a child to school, and the next important thing is to be able to pay the tuition, then that becomes imperative. Alternatively, when we give in Rotary, we give in ways that are very sustaining. We give in ways that will ensure that once we pull out of the project, they will be able to continue. So most times what we do is to first do a needs assessment and then engage the community so they can take ownership. By the time the project is implemented, Rotary leaves, then it's on autopilot. We come back subsequently, check and be sure it's still on course, and then if there's still need for anything, we come in. Because with Rotary, you're able to give.
Oh my God.
Have been involved in broadcast journalism with the better part of that time in the gathering and production of news and news programs. I'm proud to have pioneered weekday morning news talk show on Nigerian television. First with AM TV Live on DBN television and later with Kakaki on AIT.
I am Obiora. Sorry for that hiccup. Well, Doc, you were talking about the kind of assistance a lot of us give,
yeah,
and the way Rotary does
able
it.
to give, yes.
You know, okay. You're going to take over. I think it's tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes, tomorrow.
Well, it actually started effective 1st of July,
okay.
But then tomorrow is just the official investiture where I get to talk about my programs for the year.
So how prepared? How did you prepare yourself for this role? Because being the governor of Rotary, that's for the whole of Nigeria.
No, almost.
Almost the whole of
23 states and the FCT.
Yeah.
So almost, yeah.
So how did you get yourself ready for this big challenge?
Well, the beauty of Rotary is Rotary prepares you for leadership. Once you're going to assume a leadership role, you go through several trainings sponsored by Rotary automatically. And even in dealing with peers, you learn how to lead better. Don't forget that you're leading a group of equals, because irrespective of how much money you have, irrespective of how comfortable you are, the people you're leading are also volunteers. You're not feeding them, so you cannot give them instructions or orders. You cannot direct them, you can only guide. As a leader, you will learn to do that a lot more than if you had an organization by yourself. For instance, I knew I was going to be district governor from 1st of July 3 years ago when I was nominated as a district governor nominee designate. 2 years ago, I became district governor nominee. Last year, I was district governor elect. And then from 1st of July, I became district governor. So effectively, I had a little over 2 years to plan my 1 year. What are the projects that I intend to execute? Where do I want to execute them? Who are the partners that I want to work with? And how do I want to make it happen? So Rotary gives you the opportunity to actually make yourself a better person, become a better leader. You instantly become friends with over 1.2 million people all over the world, because with Rotary, you have 5 avenues to provide service. You can provide vocational service, meaning whatever vocation you have, you can use it to make the community or the other person a better person. You can also provide club service, ensuring the members of your club and yourself contribute to the community. You can even provide community service by going into the community where, for instance, you can dig a borehole, you can probably equip a hospital, or probably even give pupils chairs to sit on. You can also have international service where you have partners come in and exchange ideas. It could be culture. 3 years ago, for instance, I had the opportunity of leading a group study exchange to Maine in New England in US. So it's an opportunity to learn their culture, get to know too about Nigeria. Incidentally, that was when the Boston Marathon bombing happened, and friends at home were wondering, hey, Mike, how come you're going to US at a time when such is happening? And those in America got to understand that Nigeria is as safe as anywhere can be. I mean, we know all of this, and it's an opportunity to cross ideas and then make the world a better place.
So before the preparation for this position,
yes,
what was your background?
Oh, well, I read
Where
pharmacy.
Where are you coming from?
I read pharmacy. I trained as a pharmacist.
Okay.
And I majored in supply chain management of health commodities. That's what I do for a living. So over time, you get to understand that there is no project without commodities. So you've got to ensure that the commodities move from the supplier to the end user. So we'll monitor the pipeline.
Okay, so let's come back to what is going to happen with your investiture and then the 1 year that you have to give service.
Okay.
I know Rotary has been here for a long time.
Yes, over 100 years.
But the needs are always
enormous,
there. So
enormous.
Which needs are you pigeonholing for this 1 year?
Well, we have several projects. For instance, we have surgery interventions, like for cleft lips. So the babies with deformed lips can be corrected and we'll put a smile back on their faces. We also have plans to do polio corrective surgery so that those already afflicted with polio can begin to leave the ground and then not crawl again and then begin to walk. We also have the VVF project. That is significant because we had a pilot 2 years ago in 5 hospitals, Kano and Kaduna states, 5 hospitals each. The project was so successful that today the best practices have been extracted and they've been integrated into the health system of 3 other states, namely Edo, Enugu, and then the FCT. So people are beginning to see the usefulness of what Rotary is able to do. We also have plans to sink 250 boreholes across our territory. But beyond all of this, we're looking at a situation where we'll be able to implement will be an opportunity to let Nigerians know that the change that we're all clamoring for must begin with us. Ironically, Rotary has a guiding principle that we call the 4-way test. It's the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. This truly can be applied productively to ourselves at home, in businesses, in national, international life, to legislation in business, even to propose plans and policies, to advertising in business. It's simply telling you that whatever it is you're thinking about, before you continue the thought process, apply the 4-way test. And there are actually 4 questions. The first one is it the truth? If it's the truth, then you move to number 2. Is it fair to all concerned? If it is fair to all concerned, you move to number 3. Will it build goodwill and better friendship? If it passes that, then you move to number 4. Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Now, if it passes the 4-way test, then you can continue the thought process. If it passes the 4-way test, you can continue what you want to say. If it passes the 4-way test, then you can actually take the action. Now, the beauty of the 4-way test is that it changes me, but it's in relation to how I act to you or I talk to you.
This change you're talking about, how does it key into the change that our government has talked about and our government is implementing?
Exactly my point. That's why it's my flagship project, because right now I notice that's what we need in Nigeria, and I totally align with what the government is saying. So if we're able to take this campaign everywhere, into the ministries, into the schools, into parastatals, into the markets, even on the road. When you're driving, are you being fair to everybody? Is the way you're driving recklessly, is it going to be beneficial to everybody? Then you begin to imagine that perhaps
you should do it the other way.
You should do it the other way. And then once you change, you see, that's the beauty of it. That's what I need people to get, that change must happen with me, not you. But once it happens with me, it tells me how to relate to you. So if I'm able to relate to you positively, hopefully you will also change. She changes, then the community is beginning to change.
Well, that's the summary of the message. Governor, we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
At your investiture tomorrow.
Thank you. Hope
And
to see
then
you.
we wish you the best of luck in the 1 year that you're going to reign and offer service.
Thank you so much, Obi.
And this is for you, just a keepsake for coming on our show.
This is beautiful.
You find somewhere to put it on your table.
I will. I will. Thank you so much, Obi. Thank you. Thank you.
And that's our show for tonight. We'll do it again on Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. I am Obiora Ilu from Abuja, Nigeria. Remember, you can check us out on hblnews.com. Good night.